welcome to Amy's Art Table. Today we are going to be painting Blue Doodles. This is a watercolor lesson. So go ahead and grab your watercolor supplies and a comfy seat and we will get started. So we're working on the Blue Doodles painting today. And in your digital download, you should have received the overall painting page and then a page with detailed elements. Things we're going to be going over today are feather shapes, flower shapes. This is an abstract painting. It has a blue mood to it, but it's also very whimsical, and we're also going to have lots of dots, and it's somewhat modern. So I really hope you enjoy this painting. You can also add on with my art lessons watercolor paper, a watercolor set, fun brushes, and all of that stuff can be mailed directly to your house. So that's something to consider when taking these lessons. But you don't need the extras. You can totally do this with your own watercolor supplies, and I'm going to show you how. All right, guys, so the goal of this painting is doodling. It's super fun. I'm going to start with some blues. We're going to use different elements today. We're going to start with circles. I'm going to show you a couple different elements, and then we can talk a little bit about how you would put together your own doodle composition. And I love to do doodles because they're really super fun and simple. And it's a way to practice different elements of watercolor. So I'm starting with some medium-sized circles. I'm going to let you go ahead and place those where you would like on your sheet. Mine are going to be sort of towards the center. We're going to do, this painting is going to be similar to this one, but I won't be able to completely duplicate it. Should turn out fairly similar though. We're going to use the same elements. All right, so we added some circles. Now I'd like to go on and add these sort of flat tulip shapes with you. So I'm using the tip of the brush to create a nice little flower here, and then a circular bottom on the flower, and then gonna just drop in very simple stem. I'm going to create about 5 to 7 of these flowers. I'll let you go ahead and place them. Again, doodling is super fun because you can do this in your sketchbook. You can do this anytime, and it's a nice little relaxing activity. And let's see, add one here. So just going along and adding this new element of the flat little tulip here. Same thing here. Add a few more of these guys. These ones will be shorter. So when I'm doodling, I don't really have a plan in mind. I just want to repeat elements and use different colors along my page. So right now I'm focusing on this darker blue. And then, okay, so I think that's pretty good for now. I'm going to introduce some tan now by adding some tan circles. And these can be different sizes. I'm going to leave that to you. You get to make a lot of decisions on this painting because it's just a doodly fun painting here. Lots of little circles. A couple of bigger ones. Add a little water on my brush. So if we add water, we can get a slightly lighter color. If we add more pigment, we're going to get these darker colors. Add some small circles. Feel free to pause the video too. I'm working a little bit quickly here, but you can always pause and catch up on an element if you want to add more of that element, of course. All right, so we're already starting to place some things on our page here, starting to fill it in. Okay, we can grab back some blue and we're going to add these little petals, which are really just brush prints here. I'm getting some pigment and some water on my brush, and I'm just using the shape of this brush to make my own little print very easily. And this looks like falling petals. So this is kind of fun. You can also use this technique for leaves. And I just love how this is coming together. It's really a fun and whimsical little moody painting here. All right, so this is a good time to start talking about, as I'm going to add a few more elements. I'm going to add some circles around these circles. So while I'm doing that, I'd also like to talk to you about planning out your own doodles. So what you can do is you think of, 3 to 5 colors that you want to use in your doodles and that go together, colors that you like. For instance, I like to do a lot of fall colors. I love maroons and auburns and reds and browns and tans and yellows. So I would pick something in that color scheme because that's what I like. Now you're going to like probably something different. So you would pick your own color scheme, and then you would pick a handful of elements. Say you like flowers or circles, or maybe you like squiggly lines. Now you're just going to simply pick your colors and your elements and mix those together. So say we do some red squiggly lines, and then we do some yellow squiggly lines, and then we do some red dots and some yellow dots. And then maybe we add some flowers in maroon, and then we add a flower in yellow, and then it all starts to connect. So that's a way that you can plan out doing your own little doodles. We think of colors and we think of elements. Okay, so the next element that I'm going to add is a little, almost like a feather shape, sort of like a half feather here. So a nice squiggle line, and then adding a few little pieces here. So I like that. And then same thing over here. Go something through there, and then adding these little pieces, almost like half of a feather, like half of it has been cut off. And then maybe just turn that into a nice outline, actually, liking that. Okay. Next, add that same outline to a couple of these circles here. And they do not have to be 100% circular. The outline can be a little sketchy. All right. I'm liking the way this is turning out. Okay. Added a few little sketchy circles around that. And then the next element I want to introduce is a light orange, sort of a clay color. And we'll just go ahead and make a nice little arch here. add a few little arch shapes to this painting. One up here. And then we have room for a little something here. All right, I'm going to switch over to a just slightly lighter blue. And I'm going to add some petals to some of these existing circles here. So not saying it's a flower or a sun, but just enjoying these little petal shapes. It's nice to add a secondary blue color here. Really starts to tie the whole painting together. Right. And then heading back to that green, I will go ahead and add a few little feathery pieces on some of these circles. And see, we're really just reusing the same kind of elements, but in different spots, and we get a different outcome. So that's what doodling is all about. You don't have to fully overthink it. You can just have fun with it. All right, and now we're going to introduce another element, which will be the squiggle line. It's just gonna try to fill in this area here with a nice back and forth squiggly line, like that guy. And then same down here. Just go back and forth. And then I think we need one more tulip up here. It's like the flattened tulip. The nice long stem. And then once again, more petal pieces. And you can see I'm really just starting to fill this guy in now. And it's looking awesome. It's looking like with all these elements together, it just really kind of gives its own character. Maybe one or two up here too. Okay, and then the last step of this tutorial is just, we're going to fill in some of this area with some blue. So I'm going to go along the areas that I want to fill in blue and just lightly outline some of the elements. I'm going to let you decide how much you want to fill in. This is kind of fun because it's going to highlight certain areas of the painting. So we're going to have this blue focus right in the middle, which is kind of cool. Now, if you want, you can let your watercolor dry more before you do this step. If you're comfortable that you won't run into the wet paint too much, then you can just go for it. All right, so I'm just going around these different elements. All right, guys, so now I've highlighted a bit of the middle with some blue, and I'm liking the way that this painting has turned out. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope that you know some new elements now to doodling. And I will be back with many more art tutorials, so I hope to see you again soon.